how will Ripple reduce their share to 20% to become decentralized? And I think it's been worked out for a long time. There's over 1,700 NDAs that Ripple has with other financial institutions, enterprises, counterparties, and these are negotiated agreements where they can buy XRP at a much cheaper price. One of these, Greg Kidd came out and openly disclosed that he had a option to buy XRP at 0.03 of a penny for 1 billion XRP. I don't know if he ever executed that or not. I don't know if he waived that option. I think it was later stated that he came out and waived that option. But that just kind of gives you an idea of some of the early stuff that Ripple negotiated potentially with larger bodies. Greg Kidd also made the introduction to the Fed in 2014. And so, Ripple's been having conversations with large governments globally for more than a decade. And they did escrow, 50% of the supply back in 2017. And that's what we saw caused the supply shock to push it to, $3.84 in early 2018. But they do still own, through their wallets and the escrow, a pretty significant portion of the total amount of XRP. I think it's around, 47% that's still in escrow. And they continue to roll that. Each month they get $1 billion out of escrow that's unlocked, and then they sell what they need to onto the market and they re-escrow a portion of that. So to your point, in the Clarity Act, the way it's written today, they would have another year in order to become compliant. They've been giving grace periods. We saw this in the Genius Act with Tether. They gave them a 3-year window to become compliant with the regulations, that they set out there for US-based stablecoins. Yeah, when it comes to, will they hand some over to the US government in order to be able to offset the deficit? I think that's kind of been part of the plan the whole time. David Sachs, he said in the past publicly that the US government has not audited their crypto portfolio. When they were talking about, the Bitcoin reserve and the confiscated Bitcoin that they had, that they were going to put in that reserve, he made the comment that there was no audit of the, total amount of crypto that the government owned. And even if there was, if you have, call it an option to buy whatever it is at a certain price and you haven't executed it, options do expire after certain time frames. I don't know if there's an expiration on these options or these negotiated contracts that Ripple has from the 1,700 NDAs that they did early on, but they've already paid the $50 million in fines for those pre-negotiated contracts and those sale of those illegal securities. So those are good, right? Like they have validity at this point. And if somebody decides to, execute on that, then they absolutely would be able to. And I do think that's how, portions of the escrow get chopped up and spun out, and they do meet that 20% deal.